So BN Link sent me a couple of wall chargers, and these are basically port expanders. So this is what the typical box looks like. Now, you've seen these things before. You've probably been to Walmart. You've seen all types of brands and models being sold. They all pretty much look similar, and most of them provide the exact same functionality. So for the most part, this one is no different than that one right there. It's just that this is how the box comes, and this is what the box unboxing looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It's, it's cardboard. It's not a waste of paper and this, that, and other. It's pretty simple, straightforward boxing. So this one offers 2 USB-A ports and 1 USB-C port. Now, fortunately, I have the ability to test the actual output of the USB-C port and the USB-A port in a way that you can actually see it because I have voltmeters in my cables. So this is what their model looks like. It is a simple, bulky square. It has 2 ports for 110 volts on each side, 2 ports for 110 volts on the front, and it has 2 USB-A's, 1 USB-C, for a total of 3.4 amps. So one of the things that I have to always ask, whenever I see these all of these models, basically, they're designed similar, they're designed in the same way. They have one 110 volt input. Yet what's weird is they always tend to have a stud for the second 110 volt output that would be at the exact same height. Now, I'll never understand why these new model devices ignore adding another 110 volt plug here. What's weird is if you go to the 99-cent store, the 99-cent store, they will usually have a 6-port multi-outlet, but it will have 2 110 volt inputs, and that's because you'll have one 110 volt input servicing 3 110 volt outputs, and then you'll have another 110 volt input servicing another 3 110 volt outputs. What's strange to me is that none of these new designs take into account that you could just as easily have put another 110 volt down here. It's almost as if they are assuming that maybe you only have a socket that's capable of supporting one of these 110s and you're going to cut this stud off. Now, you're not supposed to do that, but technically it wouldn't really make a difference because this thing is taking all of the input anyway, whether you have this stud or not. This plastic stud is simply there for stability. It doesn't add anything to the ground. The ground is right here. The hot plug is right here. So I'll never understand, why don't they just split up the top half and the bottom half? But I assume it's because they assume you might cut the stud off and just use this, as a single 110 volt input. I guess that's what they were planning to do. I don't know. Maybe that's what they were planning to do. So this is it. This is what it looks like. And on my channel, you'll be able to see a link that will link you to their site because they are interested in showing off their model. And right here, it has like just 2 soft wall spacers right there. As you can see, the USB output that is claimed, 5 volt, 2.4 amp per port, and then they say 5 volt, 3.4 amps in total. So they say that there's a 15 amp by 1,875 watts. So they're obviously counting all the 110 volt outputs, and there are 6 of them. So, yeah, what we're going to do is I have maybe 2 devices which I'm going to use just to show how much power this port puts out, the USB-C port and the USB-A port. So how am I going to test that? Well, first of all, I have this wire right here, and I got these wires from eBay. This is a USB-A voltmeter equipped cable. So as you can see, this has a voltmeter built into it, so we can actually see how much power it's moving. And this one is micro B. This is micro USB B if you're charging something like, for example, this Mophie battery right here. This is a Mophie extended life battery for phones. Then I also have this USB-C cable, and this USB-C cable also has a built-in voltmeter right there. And I can use that to show you charging this cell phone extended life battery. I already did a review on this, and as you can see, it's actually low on power. It's only like 2/4 full. So that should be a decent way of showing how much voltage it can draw as it's fast charging. But again, you know, when you have this level of output, this is okay for charging, you know, iPads, iPhones, but it's not going to rapid charge them. 3.4 amps, that's not going to rapid charge them. See, what we're really wanting to look at, if you want rapid charging, is you probably want a GAN charger that you plug into the socket. And then you plug that into your phone or your iPad or your tablet or whatever you've got. And then that will be able to rapid charge your phone, laptop, computer, whatever. The issue with these sockets is these are more designed for low power devices that you just might want to keep around and you might want to keep plugged in. Like, for instance, I can show you how I've made use of chargers like this very quickly. So right behind my Ninja coffee pot and my Keurig and my microwave right there, as you can see, I have one of these multi-port chargers that I got a while ago. Now, this one is a little bit different. This one only has 5 110 volt outputs. But as you can see, it has 3 USB-A outputs, and it has 1 USB-C, which is the one that you see that's grayed out. And what do I use that for? Well, I have this little speaker right here. Never mind the fact that it's collecting a little bit of dust. But I have this Wahe speaker here, and when I'm cooking, I can use that, you know, just to listen to my iPhone. And this USB wire right here plugs into that and keeps this charged all the time. So whenever I'm in the kitchen, all of my devices that are on the counter pretty much have power. And I usually try to leave one of these sockets empty, just in case there's another device I want to plug in. But I also run an extension cord to it, you know, for the blender and stuff like that. But that's how I make use of them. Now, different people will come up with different ways to use them, but there's lots and lots of uses for these things, and that's why I love them so much. And one more thing I'd like to say, just in case you've never thought of it or you don't have the imagination. When you have one of these, this means that you ultimately have a cell phone charger, iPad charger, Apple Watch charger, whatever you need right there at your desk. If you have a cubicle at work, most people don't want to leave their chargers laying around because sooner or later somebody's going to steal it. But when you have one of these, most people are not going to go out of their way to unplug one of these in order to get at your charger. Some people may not even steal it. They may borrow it and not return it. They may borrow it, use it, and then forget to return it to you. And then later on, they think it's theirs. So the reality is, when you have something like this, whether you are a office worker in a cubicle or a teacher in a classroom, these are really good because now you don't have to worry about anybody just randomly stealing your charger and walking away with it. So what I'm doing is I'm plugging it into this old, beat-up under-desk extension cord port expander that I've had. And I'm just going to plug it right into there simply because, you know, sometimes it's hard to find an extension cord that has a ground. Now this, as you can see, there's no light on it to symbolize that this thing is actually on and working. There's no light at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my USB ports. And this way, this is the USB-C. So plug that right in there. Now, as you can see, this shows right now that there is 0 watts being sent. There's no power movement whatsoever. Then I'm going to plug in this USB-C. Oh, I'm sorry, USB-A. This one's USB-A. The other one's USB-C. So I'm going to plug that in. And as you can see right here, as you can see, 0 watts are being moved. Now, as we know, USB-C is more powerful than USB-A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this Mophie, and we're going to see how much power does this cable put into this Mophie. So let's just see where to plug it in. Okay, the upside down is there. All right. Okay. All right, so let's see. How much power will this thing suck up? Okay, so as you can see, the USB-A cable is able to push about 6.8 watts. And that is, as you can see, slowly charging up this Mophie. Okay, so this is USB-A to micro B. Now, as you know, micro B is not a fast charging, how should I say? It's not a fast charging standard, basically. Usually the fast charging is usually only over USB-C, or if you have a lightning cable, chances are it's USB-C to lightning. The USB-As aren't as capable of pushing that high wattage, but as you can see, we have over 6 watts being pushed into the Mophie. Okay, so that's the Mophie. So I'm going to unplug this because I don't want to use power from both devices at the same time. I want to use this one to demonstrate fast charging using USB-C. So let's see how much more power you can get if you're using USB-C. So as you know, USB-Cs, you can plug them in on either side. So what do we got here? So right now it's at 0, 1, 8, 13, 14, and we're stopping at 14. Now, I don't know if it's going to go up, but chances are it probably won't. Because one of the things you have to understand, once again, these port expanders, when you buy these things, whether you get them from Walmart, the internet, Amazon, it doesn't really matter. The majority of these port expanders are not designed for fast charging. These are designed for basic, usually it's like 2.4 amps, but in this case, this one's like 3.4. But as you can see, we're settling somewhere around 14 watts. These are not designed for fast charging. If you want fast charging, usually you're going to have to go for one that has GaN technology, which is gallium nitride. And that allows like highly efficient fast charging through devices such as this. So here you got 14. With this other one, you only had like 6.8. So you basically had half of that coming through USB-A. So for these people who are buying Anker products, because right now Anker is aggressively, they're absolutely aggressively advertising their charging docks and their charging pads and this, that, and other. The reality is, Anker, the benefit that they have is that they are able to give you relatively low cost charging that is usually fast charging in their products that are labeled IQ. So they have like a little blue label and it's called Anker IQ. And they're usually a little bit faster than off-the-shelf models like this. However, the Anker models are usually more expensive. These are usually cheaper. Usually these are like between $8 and $9, maybe even $15. The Anker model is usually around 20 or more, depending upon where you're able to buy them from. So that's the benefit, I would say, of getting one of these. Now, I just want to make a point. For people who want to really fast charge smartphones, fast charge laptops, it doesn't, in my opinion, make sense to simply use the USB-C port that comes on these devices. These devices are good for charging things like I showed you, like a speaker or something. But when you really want to fast charge something, it makes way more sense to have a gallium nitride 110 volt plug adapter, especially when you travel. And the simple fact is, these things push way more power, way faster, way more efficiently. They did this, as far as I've known, this Kotech has never ever heated up. They have newer models that are less bulky because this is an older model. It's very bulky. However, because I have 2 of these and they cost like the total I had for was like what, $20. I have 2 dual USB-C ports, and I have the ability to rapid charge roughly anything. So as you can see, we're still stuck at 14 watt charging right here for charging this iPhone battery up. But watch this. What if I put in this gallium nitride charger and I use that instead? Let's say I unplug the USB-C port and I wait a second, and then let's see what happens if I plug that in. And this is a 100 watt gallium nitride charger. That's what you're seeing a lot of on the internet, especially from Anchor, simply because so many people have these MacBooks and they're trying to fast charge these MacBooks. This is a 100 watt charger. When you use one port, you get the full 100 watts. If you use both ports, you only get like 50 per. Now watch this. Okay, 0, we're at 0, 5, 18, 19, 18, 19, 18. Okay, and as you can see, the light where it says PD, that means power delivery. So that basically means that it's in fast charging mode. I love these cables. If you want cables like this for your iPhone to keep in your car so that you can actually see the power output, just go on eBay. They're about $8 each. Maybe you can get 2 or 3 for like 20. As you can see, we're at 19, back to 18, but we're basically 18, 19. 18, 19. So let's say that we're topping out at about 19. This USB-C port from this GAN charger is able to push about 18 to 19 watts. It won't go to 20. Now, when I charge my iPhone, typically it'll go a little bit faster because the other issue is the device that you're charging has to be able to accept the amount of energy being pushed into it. If you're trying to charge a device that doesn't have fast charging, you're not going to have a good time. So it's pretty much simple. But as you can see, we're settling around 18, 19. Now, this battery was half full, but it was mostly like it required a recharge because I had been using it to charge my iPhone last night, and I was trying to deplete the battery. I was putting it through a cycle. But yeah, as you can see, we're settling at about 19. So this gallium nitride charger is actually capable of charging slightly faster than the same USB port here, despite the fact that both of them are drawing from a 110 volt AC outlet. Now, just to test the other outlet, I'm going to pull this plug out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into the top plug, and let's just see if there's any difference. Okay, so we're at 0, 5, 18, straight to 18, 19, 18. Okay, so the device itself is unable to accept more power, despite the fact that this can easily give it 50 watts worth of charge. So, bottom line is this. If you are in a house and you need more sockets at specific points, like at your desk, at your computer, your living room, behind your furniture where your sofa is and whatnot, if you need more ports, BNLink has this model charger. So it's capable of charging 6 devices, and it's also capable of 2 USB-A, 1 USB-C. So they are worth looking at. But if you want to fast charge devices, my recommendation is you stick with the laptop fast charger that came with the laptop. Or if you're using, say, an iPhone 15 or iPhone 16 with their USB-C inputs, my recommendation is that you use a GAN fast charger. Now, the last thing I think I'll say, some people are upset about the fact that Apple, for example, doesn't offer chargers in the box. As far as I know, they don't even package a cable in the box, as far as I know. Maybe they do. I'm not really sure because I haven't seen the iPhone 16 unboxed. But if it's true that they have taken out the cable and they have taken out the AC adapter, they basically want you to go and buy your own because they know that if they were to package, say, a 5-watt adapter, that wouldn't be enough and people would start complaining about how slow it's charging. They also know that it would raise the price considerably if they were to package in a 20-watt charger. They'd have to raise the price another $20 or another $10 or whatever it is. So the 20-watt charger, in many people's opinion, probably wouldn't be enough either. You think about it, I'm skipping iPhone 16 and I'm waiting for iPhone 17. But if I was getting iPhone 16, here I'm sitting, I've got GAN chargers that are capable of charging at 50 watts. So their 20-watt charger, I would leave in the box. Just as the same if they gave me a 5-watt charger. I don't need the 5, I don't need the 20. If I'm not mistaken, Apple makes a 65-watt charger. I wouldn't be using that either. Or perhaps I would just use this and I charge my Apple Watch, my phone, and my AirPods simultaneously using a charging station. And the charging stations nowadays, you can get those for like $20 or $30, eBay, Amazon, whatever. There's lots of charging stations where you put everything on it at night and it just charges everything simultaneously. I would love to have one of those the next time I go traveling. So this way, with a single USB port, I can charge all of the devices overnight. And even with these, the BN Link model, the 6-outlet wall tap, you can actually travel with these. So if you go overseas, for example, the pin adapter, pretty much like if you're in Japan, it looks exactly like this. It's a type 1 or it's a type 2. It doesn't have a ground. However, when you go overseas, if you buy a surge protector from one of those foreign countries' stores, your surge protector may be as simple as just an extension cord. And if you buy just an extension cord, all you got to do is plug this right into that extension cord end. So if your extension cord only has one output, you plug this in, now you got 6. Plus you got the 2 USBs and you got the USB-C. So this is, I'll be perfectly honest, I love all of these things. I have a few different types of them. I love them all. Ever since I saw these, it was during COVID, and I love buying them. I outfit pretty much my entire house with these, just in case I was ever in a room and I needed a USB or a USB-A port. Just about any room in my house has one of these in it, including my bathroom, because in my bathroom I have a speaker, Bluetooth speaker, and I plug that in USB-C. I have an iPad that I use while I'm on the toilet taking a shit, and I plug that into USB-A. That charges overnight. Once it's fully charged, you can, use it until it goes down. So every single room in my house has one of these. So when I think about these BN Links that I was just sent, I'm very thankful for them. China is very good to me, and they send me some very good products to review, and they save me a lot of money. And I really believe that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my relatives, like my father or my mother, and I'm going to see what their sockets look like, because I've given them wall taps before, and I've also given them multi-taps and stuff for next to their bed, so this way they could charge their iPads, their iPhones, and their Apple Watches and whatnot. So these are definitely great products. As you can see, the charging speed is decent enough for most USB devices, especially USB devices that aren't designed specifically for fast charging like laptops. So these are pretty good devices. So my recommendation is, when I post up the link, if you are interested in devices like this, especially now the holiday season's coming, these are very, very thick, bulky plastic devices. So these are not something that you got to worry about, like, fire starting or something. These things are very, very thick. And for the most part, they offer plenty of surge protection. So very nice. And if you need something like this, you can hit the link and you can check out BN Link. So if you have questions, comments, criticisms, feel free to log those in the comment section below. So one last thing. Actually, before I go, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention how fast that this thing can fast charge iPhone 14. So I'm going to use this USB-C cable. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it, so you're just going to have to take my word for it when I read off the voltmeter to you. Okay, 6.2, 7, 6.5, 7, 6.7, 5.8, 5.5. Now, mind you, my phone was already at like 80% charge. So basically, the USB-C is charging right now at about 5.4, 5.5, 5.9, 6.7. It's all over the place, honestly. My phone is a little warm, so it may terminate the charge prematurely simply because it's a little warm since I was recording with it. But for the most part, it seems to be giving off charge similar to what it was doing when I was using the battery. We're at about 6, 5.8, 6.2. I haven't seen it go beyond 10. But as you know, fast charging typically works better when the device is near empty, but my phone is not near empty. I pretty much keep my phone charged all day, especially when I'm in my car, because the car has Apple CarPlay, so it's simultaneously charging the phone while you're driving. But yeah, right now it's settling in somewhere around 6 watts. So yeah, that's pretty much where it is. And the USB-C charger is obviously faster than the USB-A's. So that's the only one that I'm even going to bother testing, because that's the only one you'd actually care about. This is fast enough to keep this phone fully charged, or to charge this phone within about an hour between 0 and 85%. After that, it starts to slow down. Once you get past 80%, lithium-ion batteries typically slow down, because now there's less space for the electrons to move to. But yeah, it looks like it's settling around 6 watts, give or take 6 watts. So far, so good. Now, in comparison, let me do a very, very quick comparison with the Kotek. With the Kotek, I'm going to do a very quick comparison, and I'll read off those numbers to you too. So what is it? Okay, we started 6, 5.6, 5.8, 5.5. Yeah, we're around 5.7. Again, the phone is almost full, so it's not going to go extremely high. It's settling in at about 6 watts. The throttling may be actually due to the phone itself, so it may not be a perfect test, but yeah, it's settling in around 6 watts. Yeah, so okay, well, it's good enough. I just wanted to throw that in there. It's more than capable of charging your iPad. It's more than capable of charging your iPhone. But if you're looking for rapid charges, again, you're better off just going with the GAN chargers, or whatever's appropriate for whatever device you're trying to fast charge.
To be continued.